I know that plenty of people have done videos on this topic. However, I have a very different spin to talk about. Which video am I talking about? I'm talking about this video by RGT85. I'll link the video in the description below, and you guys please, by all means, go and watch it because he has a lot of good points to make. However, I would like to take a hard right turn, branching off of what he has to say, and say this. This basically what he's talking about is there was a father in a Facebook group, and he posted a picture of him. I haven't seen the picture, I'm going off of his description, but he posted a picture of him and his kids playing retro games and having a good time. And nothing, hey, look at my setup, nothing like that. It was just like, hey, teaching the new generation about these awesome games that I played with as a kid. Now, there's a lot to be said about where the comments people were making. They were saying, oh, well, he's not using original hardware and he's not using the original game. He might have been using emulators or playing on a Nintendo Switch or whatever the case is. It doesn't really matter. However, this goes way beyond video games. In addition to that, I have one question. And this is something that a lot of people have said. Why is this a bad thing? Why is a man playing video games with his children a bad thing? It's not real. If you're really honest about it, it's not a bad thing. It's somebody spending time with their children. And that's what I want to focus on in this video. Because about a year ago, I took classes in criminal justice. One of those classes was Introduction to Criminal Justice. And in that, it gave statistics, or it gave a history of law enforcement in America. And then it started giving statistics, and it went more heavily into the statistics during the second portion of the course, or the second class in the overall course. And one thing became very, very apparent. Now, before I say this, I'm not trying to make a political statement. I don't care about people's views on things. I'm simply looking at numbers, okay? All I'm doing is looking at the data, and normally, as long as it's, the data is collected in good faith, the data does not lie, okay? That father playing video games with his children, they are, depending on the part of the country that they're from, they are 50 to 85% less likely to wind up hooked on drugs, in prostitution, or in prison. Now, mainly winding up as criminals as they grow up. Why do I say this? Is because while this is not to discount single mothers, I was raised by a single mother, okay? And I think I turned out pretty well. However, it is not a mother's job to be a father. Now, this is, as you can probably tell, this video is very much taking a serious turn away from my normal content, but this needs to be said, okay? I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I have, at the time of this video, I have a 1-week-old son. You can see him here. And I think I'm a pretty good dad. Not perfect, nobody's perfect, never will be, and not trying to be. But the more you try to take an interest in your children's lives, if you show them your interest and take interest in what they're interested in, you are basically solving a large portion of the problems that they'll face later in life. Fathers and mothers both are important, not just one or the other, okay? Please, by all means, go look at the statistics and please prove me wrong. Show me a statistic that says that fathers and mothers do not matter in a child's life, because I guarantee you they do. And like I said, this goes way beyond playing video games, or a guy playing with video games with his children. It doesn't matter if he's using original hardware or not. Those kids don't give a flying flip about that. They don't care. They know their dad is spending time with them and with an electronic device, having fun, they are sharing an interest. That is huge in a child's life. When I was growing up, Now, I'm not going to go too far into this, but when I was growing up, I hated it whenever my father figure, so to speak, came home from work or wherever he was at. I hated it whenever he came home, because I knew at the end of the day that there was going to be some kind of problem. He would invent problems. I've seen that, and then I've seen parents when they are actually parents to their children. Now, this does not mean they let them get their way all the time. It's that they spend time with them, and they do right by them by disciplining, spending time with them, and doing every single thing they possibly can to make sure that their children are raised correctly, so to speak. I'm not talking about the little minutia. I'm talking about, they're doing the best that they know how to raise competent human beings that can be productive members of society. And since I started this channel, it was my goal, and you can read in every single description of every single long form video that I've ever made, and at the end of every single live stream I've ever done, anybody can tell you this. I say one statement: be excellent to each other. And if number one, if you're bad mouthing a guy for playing video games with his kids just because they're retro games and they're not on original hardware, you're failing that mandate of be excellent to each other. And if I was to ignore my children and stuff like that, I would be failing my own mandate to be excellent to each other. Okay? Like I said, this goes way beyond video games. It goes way beyond it. And I did this video, I wanted to do this video. I wanted to do it unscripted, and I only have 4 lines of notes over here just so I can remember little things that I wanted to say. And I think it has turned out the best. Maybe I didn't finish all of my thoughts and everywhere I was going with all of the things that I was saying, but the point is this: it does not matter for any games whatsoever. You, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but you can emulate up to like an Xbox One, okay? But if somebody's using an emulator to play an Xbox One game, who cares? The same thing goes for NES or anything like that. Stop bad-mouthing people just because they're not going with the proper definition of playing retro games, because I got news for you. If somebody loves something like Chrono Trigger, you know how much that game is? That thing is running over $100. I think the least I've seen it is $100, and that's looking at multiple different places. The point is, just give everybody a break, okay? We do not need this kind of stuff in our society. And that goes back to the mandate to be excellent to each other. And believe it or not, no, I didn't steal that from Bill and Ted. But I kind of thought of it one day, and then somebody brought it to my attention. But anyway, the point is that it's a good mandate to have. If you're doing the best you can to just be generally kind to somebody, that's being excellent to them. Leaving them alone whenever they're not fitting your description of playing retro games with their kids, leave them alone. Number one, it's none of your business. Number two, that's a father who is doing what, if I remember correctly, 40% of fathers don't do. And I mean, like I said, I was raised by a single mother. I know plenty of people raised by single parents. Most of them, unfortunately, they got in a bad way in various different aspects. I cannot stress this enough. And I'm going to end this video now. I'm not going to make it too long. But let's just give everybody a break. You know what? If you see something like that, comment. If you want to comment on it, say, you know what? Good job, dude. You're being a good dad. You're spending time with your kids. Because there are a lot of children that never got it. And it shows in the prison statistics. So, in conclusion, I hope you guys got something from this in my rambling. Until the next video, work hard, play hard, game hard, but above all else, be excellent to each other. Bye.